we've talked about Asmongold at length on the channel the last few days, and I think it's only important that we talk about it now because, as pointed out by several members, several normal men have pointed out that you think that he is the perfect husbando. And
I don't know about perfect, but he is my husbando.
Oh,
He
okay.
is my kami oshi, as it were.
Well, given everything that's happened over the last few days, what is your stance? Are you still looking to get hitched to Asmongold?
Oh man, I can only hope that like his apology is partial him actually feeling bad for the way he worded it, right? Because like I got a minor amount of backlash for quote retweeting and being like, this is just the normie opinion. And I feel like a lot of people forget what a normie is. A normie is basically an NPC, right? Like they don't pay attention to things in depth. They just like listen to the talk radio. They maybe watch the news while they're getting ready for work. They ingest what the mainstream media gives them. And for the longest time, I'm sure Gen Z is a little bit different. Gen Z is probably more inundated with current year rhetoric, but majority of people in my age group and Asmon's age group and older than us, when we don't know anything about the conflict over there, and normie is going to be like, oh, yeah, there's Israel, and then there's a country that's led by terrorists. Why would I care what happens to the terrorists, right? So he's just saying something that's basically like the normie programming at this point, but he went a little further and was just kind of like, I don't care if they get genocided, which not everyone there is a terrorist. There are average, normal citizens that obviously don't deserve what's happening. And so I can understand from his point of view being like, I was kind of an asshole. I worded it kind of rough. My bad. Like I get him wanting to do that because my stance is the same as his, right? Never apologize to the mob. Only apologize when you feel you have done something that goes against your principles. And so I feel like his apology is partially that and also partially PR because the things that he says can affect those that he works with and the companies that he has basically a huge stake in. So I'm really hoping, and maybe this is me huffing copium, that they will eventually, like after he takes his hiatus and whatnot, and whatever he's doing to work on himself, will let him back into like OTK and Starforge.
I think there's a very slim chance of that happening.
I would be very unhappy if that was the case to stay that way.
I don't know. I think that once you're out, you're kind of out. And even if he
I
apologized,
mean, they let Mizkif back in.
I don't know the ins and outs, but generally, once you have your apology and once you get booted, I don't know. I feel like there's one of those. I don't know. How do you feel about like him apologizing? You know, just the idea of somebody who says that you never apologize, then you apologize. I don't know. What are your thoughts on that?
I mean, to be fair, I don't know if he's ever said like never apologize unless it goes against your principles, right? Because that's what I say.
Mm-hmm.
Like I've apologized to my community before where it's just like, look, I don't think I did anything wrong, but if you're upset with me for the way that I acted and you think that reflects poorly, like I'm sorry to you specifically in my community. And that's only happened I think like twice ever. So if Asmongold holds the same thing, then I feel like he's being true to himself. But if he holds the like literally never apologize kind of mindset, I would question like why he felt the need to do that, especially since again, like it's uninformed, but it's still like the normie opinion, right? Like people don't say it out loud because it's tactless, right? But it's still what a majority of people who don't know anything about what's going on will just say.
Dark Lulege says, I will say it. They do have an inferior culture. I make no apologies for saying Asmon Bethany. Enough said. I think what's interesting about this is that people are pissed at him from all sides, right? And like I said,
Yeah.
I don't know enough about the situation over there. And honestly, I don't think people really come here to hear my opinion on the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. It doesn't like it's over there. I'm worried about here, right? And with that said, it's amazing to see the pushback that he's received. Number one, for making the statement, and then he apologized. So he got pushback for apologizing. And even through the apology, the people who initially pushed back, it wasn't good enough. It was never good enough. It
No,
will
it's
never
never
be
going to
good
be good
enough.
enough for those people.
Right. Exactly. So,
I think
so
though he was apologizing for one specific part, and
Yes.
people didn't realize that because, like Kirsche just said, he has the normie opinion, but it wasn't till he got and this stems from if you watched his 20-minute video, he said that he didn't care that innocent people were getting bombed, and that is a mean-spirited thing to say.
Yeah.
But
And
at the
that's what I
same
brought up as well.
yeah, and then like at the same time though, it kind of brings into that question of how are you supposed to care about it? Like these people who are like hyper into the whole, free Palestine thing, right? They want you to care about every little tragedy that's happening around the world. If a butterfly dies in Palestine, you need to be weeping and sobbing. And so the average person right now, if you go talk to them about it, they're fed up about hearing about it because their lives to them are still bad.
people
But
want to buy
then
groceries, man. Like people want
yeah,
to know
yeah,
why their eggs
exactly.
aren't expensive. Yeah. Right.
Exactly. And so when you tell them, "Oh, this is going on and you have to care about it," while they're struggling to pay for groceries, they're like, "Okay, like yeah, that is way worse than my situation, but like I need to feed my family tonight." So
Mhm.
I'm sorry that I don't really give a shit what's happening over there. I don't think he meant it like he genuinely doesn't care that people are getting bombed. No, it was never that. It's just he went on a rant, he got a little too spicy with his wording, and people are sensitive.
And I mean, I'm glad he didn't apologize directly for the like inferior culture comment, because I feel like if you can look at a region that treats women the way they do and treats other certain people the way
Mhm.
they do, that you can look at that religion and be like, maybe you need to go through a bit of a reformation period